It's 3:27 a.m. You're wide awake again, staring at the ceiling while your husband snores peacefully beside you. Sound familiar? If you're like many women in your golden years, this happens more often than you'd like. After helping thousands of women just like you improve their sleep over my 40-year career, I've discovered something surprising. These early morning wake-ups aren't just annoying interruptions. They might be your body's way of telling you something important. Today, I'm sharing 5 simple things to do when this happens. And stick around for tip number 4. It changed everything for my wife Martha, and most doctors never mention it. If this video already speaks to you, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I'd also love to know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments below. Now, let's talk about what's really happening when you wake up feeling that heaviness in your chest at 3 a.m. 1. Check your feelings. What's on your mind? You wake up with that heavy feeling in your chest. The house is quiet, but your mind isn't. Something pulled you from sleep, and it wasn't the need for a bathroom trip or a noise from outside. I've seen this pattern countless times with my patients and experienced it myself. Often, what's waking you at this hour is your heart trying to tell your head something important. Did you know that according to ancient wisdom and modern sleep medicine, the hours between 3 and 5 a.m. are when our emotions rise closest to the surface? My wife Martha calls it the whisper hour because that's when the worries we push away during busy daylight hours finally get a chance to whisper in our ears. Many women tell me they worry about bothering their family with concerns, so they tuck them away. But those unaddressed feelings don't disappear. They wait until you're vulnerable in sleep, then gently wake you to be heard. Here's a simple approach I've recommended for years, the write and release method. Keep a small notebook and pen by your bedside. Nothing fancy, just something to write in without turning on bright lights. When you wake, ask yourself, what's on my heart right now? Then write down whatever comes to mind. Don't judge it or try to solve it, just acknowledge it. Mary, a 65-year-old grandmother from Ohio, told me this changed everything for her. After her husband's heart surgery, she kept waking at 3:15 almost every night. Instead of lying there worrying, she started writing down her specific fears. I'm afraid Jim isn't taking his medication, or I'm worried about how we'll manage the stairs. Just seeing these thoughts on paper made them less overwhelming. It's like they became right-sized once I wrote them down, she told me. Research backs this up. Scientists from Northwestern University found that people who spent just 5 minutes writing down concerns before bedtime fell asleep faster and stayed asleep longer. It works because your mind doesn't have to keep reminding you. The paper remembers for you. Remember, ladies, these middle-of-night thoughts aren't signs of weakness. They're often your wisdom trying to break through. Sometimes the quiet hours are when your mind finally has space to process life's challenges, your children growing distant, health concerns, or changes in your relationships. The next time you wake feeling that heaviness, don't fight it. Acknowledge it, write it down, and gently tell yourself, I hear you. We'll address this tomorrow. Then take a deep breath and know you've given those feelings exactly what they needed to be recognized. 2. Easy stretches to help you relax. You've been tossing and turning for about 20 minutes now. Your brain says, just lie still and sleep will come. But your body has other ideas. The more you try to freeze in place, the more your shoulders tense up and your legs start to feel restless. I see this all the time with my patients. Fighting your body's need to move actually makes things worse. Here's something my years of practice have taught me. After about 15 minutes of wakefulness, your muscles actually need to release built-up tension before they'll let you drift back to sleep. It's like your body saying, hey, I need a quick reset here. Let me share what I call the 1-minute comfort routine. My wife Martha does this every time she wakes up, and it works wonders. Start with your neck. It carries so much tension. Just gently roll your head to the right, hold for a breath, then to the left. Nothing fancy or strenuous. I tell my patients to imagine their head as a bowling ball being cradled in their hands, heavy but precious. Next, focus on those shoulders. They're probably up near your ears without you even realizing it. Lift them slightly, then let them drop like you're letting go of a heavy weight. Feel that release? That's your body saying thank you. Now here's something most sleep doctors won't tell you. Cold hands and feet can keep you awake. As we age, our circulation changes and many women find their extremities getting colder at night. Simply rub your hands together like you're warming them by a fire, then place them over your feet for a moment. That shared warmth improves circulation and signals your brain it's safe to sleep. Jean, a 72-year-old patient of mine with arthritis in her hands, told me she couldn't do some of these movements comfortably. So we modified them. She keeps soft, warming gloves by her bed and slips them on when she wakes up. "It's like tucking my hands into a cozy pocket," she says, "and within minutes, I feel ready to sleep again." Remember, these movements don't need to be perfect. You're not training for the Olympics at 3 a.m. Even the smallest gentle stretch sends a signal to your nervous system that it's okay to relax again. Your body at 60, 70, or 80 isn't the same as it was at 30, and that's perfectly fine. The wisdom you've gained is worth those creaky joints. The beauty of this routine is that it works right in bed. No need to get up and wander around the house. Just a minute of gentle movement tells your body, "I hear you, I'm taking care of you." And often that's all it needs to settle back down into restful sleep. 3. Stop fighting it. Make the moment peaceful. I bet I know exactly what goes through your mind when you look at the clock. If I fall asleep right now, I'll still get 3 hours of sleep. Wait, now it's 2 hours and 45 minutes. Sound familiar? This mental math is the worst thing you can do. My patients laugh when I tell them this, but it's true. Fighting sleep is like trying to catch a butterfly. The harder you chase, the faster it flies away. Here's what happens in your body. The moment you start worrying about sleep, your body releases stress hormones. These are the same chemicals that kept our ancestors alert when they heard a saber-toothed tiger outside the cave. They're helpful for survival, but terrible for sleep. Your heart beats a little faster, your muscles tense up, and suddenly you're wide awake, worrying about being awake. Instead, I want you to try what I call the peaceful acceptance approach. It changed my wife Martha's life after decades of sleep struggles. First, take a slow, deep breath through your nose for 4 counts. Hold it gently for a moment, then breathe out through your mouth for 6 counts, like you're blowing on hot soup. Do this 3 times. This simple pattern tells your body all is well and quiets those stress hormones. Next, make sure your sleep space is truly comfortable. Is your pillow supporting your neck properly? As we age, our shoulders and neck need different support. Is the room cool enough? Many of my patients discovered they sleep better in a room that's cooler than they'd keep it during the day. Around 65 degrees is often ideal. These small adjustments can make a world of difference. Did you know that many brilliant minds throughout history embraced these early morning hours? Eleanor Roosevelt composed her most important writings before dawn. Thomas Jefferson started his day at 4 a.m., claiming these quiet hours were his most productive. You're in good company during these peaceful hours when the world is still. I recommend creating what I call a night comfort corner on your nightstand. Keep a soft light that won't jar you awake, a notepad for any thoughts that need capturing, perhaps a book of gentle poetry or inspiring quotes, and a small cup of water. Make this little corner a peaceful retreat rather than a reminder of sleeplessness. Most importantly, give yourself permission to be awake. There's no rule that says we must sleep solidly for 8 hours. Throughout most of human history, people actually slept in 2 phases with a peaceful, wakeful period between. Your 3 a.m. wakefulness might just be your body's natural rhythm. Remember, ladies, the stress of trying to force sleep creates more problems than the wakefulness itself. Accept this quiet moment as a gift, a pocket of stillness in our busy world, and often sleep returns when you stop chasing it. 4. Sip something soothing. You wake up with that parched feeling. Your mouth feels like you've been walking through the desert, and maybe your legs have that antsy, restless sensation. This isn't just a random discomfort. In my decades of helping folks with sleep issues, I've noticed something many doctors overlook. Proper hydration might be the missing piece in your sleep puzzle. As we journey into our golden years, our bodies actually need more moisture, not less. It's one of nature's little ironies. Right when you're trying to avoid those nighttime bathroom trips, your body is demanding better hydration. Why? Our tissues hold less water as we age, and many medications common after 50. Blood pressure pills, antihistamines, even some pain relievers can leave you feeling like the Sahara at 3 a.m. Now, here's where most folks go wrong. They reach for ice-cold water. Makes sense, right? You're thirsty, you want something refreshing. But that cold shock actually signals your body to wake up fully. It's like throwing cold water on a cat. Everything tenses up. Instead, try what I call the nighttime comfort sip. Before bed, prepare a small covered glass or thermos of room temperature or slightly warm water. About 8 ounces is perfect. You don't want to drink too much, just enough to comfort those tissues. To this, add a tiny pinch of sea salt, not enough to taste salty, just enough to help your body hold on to that moisture. My patient Doris, who's 78, swears by adding a splash of tart cherry juice to her nighttime drink. It reminds me of the cherry trees we had on our farm growing up, she says. Science backs her up. Tart cherries contain natural compounds that support melatonin, your sleep hormone. If you prefer something warm, a few sips of chamomile tea can work wonders. My grandmother called it nature's lullaby in a cup, and modern research confirms what she knew instinctively. It gently calms your nervous system without forcing sleep. Here's a practical tip many don't consider. Keep your sipping solution in an insulated cup with a straw. This prevents spills if you're fumbling in the dark, and sipping through a straw is gentler, less likely to fully wake you than sitting up to drink. Now I know what you're thinking. But if I drink anything, I'll just have to get up again for the bathroom. That's why timing matters. The small amount in your nighttime comfort sip, about 3 to 4 ounces when you wake, isn't enough to trigger a bathroom trip, but it's sufficient to relieve that dry mouth and calm restless muscles. Remember, ladies, proper hydration isn't just about comfort. It's how your body moves nutrients around and removes what it doesn't need. When you wake feeling parched, your body is sending you an important message. Answering it kindly might be the key to reclaiming those peaceful early morning hours. 5. Gentle sounds to quiet your mind. It's amazing how loud your thoughts can become in the silence of night. Your mind suddenly transforms into a very efficient secretary. Don't forget to call Susan tomorrow. Did you pay the electric bill? What was that noise in the car? Should you be worried about that pain in your knee? On and on it goes, each thought louder than the last. I've found that one of the most effective ways to quiet this mental chatter doesn't require any effort from you at all. It's simply introducing gentle background sounds. Think of it as giving your busy mind something else to focus on besides that growing to-do list. Our ears never fully turn off, even during sleep. They remain alert, which is why the right sounds can be such powerful sleep aids. The wrong sounds, a dripping faucet or a ticking clock, can keep you counting each drip or tick. But the right sounds can lull you back into peaceful slumber. In my experience, there are 3 types of sounds that work particularly well for women in their golden years. First, there's nature's soundtrack: gentle rainfall, ocean waves, or soft wind through trees. These rhythmic, consistent sounds mimic patterns that have comforted humans for thousands of years. They're familiar to our deepest selves. Betty, a 70-year-old grandmother of 5, told me she was skeptical when I first suggested this. At my age, I thought I was stuck with my sleep problems, she said, but she placed a simple sound machine by her bed, playing rainfall. Now, when I wake up at night, I imagine I'm back at my family's lakeside cabin, listening to rain on the roof. I'm usually back asleep within minutes. The second option is what I call grown-up bedtime stories, calming voices reading something soothing. Not an exciting thriller, mind you. Think travel descriptions, gentle poetry, or someone softly explaining something interesting but not too stimulating. The rhythm of human speech at low volume can be remarkably comforting. And then there's my personal favorite, slightly boring audiobooks. My wife Martha laughs at my collection of geology lectures and histories of ancient farming techniques, but they work like magic. Find a topic that's interesting enough to distract you from your worries, but not so exciting that it keeps you listening. You don't need fancy equipment for any of this. A simple radio with a sleep timer, a CD player, or even the most basic smartphone can do the job. The key is keeping the volume just above a whisper, loud enough to hear, soft enough that you'd have to concentrate to catch every word. Place your sound source at least an arm's length from your head and make sure it has a timer feature so it turns off on its own. This prevents the sound itself from becoming a distraction later. The beauty of this approach is that it requires nothing from you except listening. You don't have to try to relax or force your mind to be quiet. The gentle sounds naturally lead your thoughts away from worries and into more peaceful territories. Ladies, our minds have carried many concerns through the decades. Sometimes they just need a little help setting those worries down for a few hours. The right gentle sounds might be exactly the permission your busy brain needs to finally rest. So there you have it, ladies. 5 simple ways to transform those 3 a.m. wake-ups. Check your feelings, do gentle stretches, practice peaceful acceptance, sip something soothing, and use calming sounds. Remember, these early mornings aren't your enemy. They might become precious quiet moments all your own. When I turned 60, these wake-ups became my thinking time, and now Martha tells me I'm calmer throughout the day. Try just one tip tonight. Your wisdom has carried you through decades of life's challenges. This is just one more journey where that wisdom serves you well. I'd love to know which tip resonates most with you. Share in the comments below and sleep well tonight, my friends.